Let's turn to the confirmation. You pointed out that's a Senate-only responsibility. The confirmation of the Trump cabinet. The Senate has approved only 2 nominees so far. We've got them up on the screen. Generals James Mattis for Defense, John Kelly for Homeland Security. We'll get to what the Democrats are doing to try to slow this down in a moment. But as you sit here today, do you know, as the Senate Majority Leader, that you have the votes to pass all the other Trump nominees?
I'm confident we will, yes. What's been unfortunate is that all I asked of my colleague, Senator Schumer, was to treat President Trump the same way we treated President Obama. I mean, obviously, we were not happy with any of his nominees either, but he got 7 of them on the first day. We got 2. They even delayed the CIA until Monday for some inexplicable reason.
But I'm going to get to Schumer in a second, but you believe that you have the votes to confirm all of them once you get it to an actual vote?
I believe we'll be able to confirm the president's entire cabinet. There's great enthusiasm.
Even Rex Tillerson for state,
yes.
3 Republicans have expressed reservations.
I'm optimistic we'll get every member of the cabinet.
Let's talk about Senator Schumer, because he says that he has concerns about 8 nominees, and he says he believes that there needs to be more discussion about them, about ethics questions, about their qualifications. Here he is.
The president-elect's cabinet is a swamp cabinet full of billionaires and bankers that have conflicts of interest and ethical lapses as far as the eye can see.
What's wrong with his saying that?
Selective outrage. Jack Lew, the outgoing Treasury Secretary, had an account in the Cayman Islands. Geithner, who was the Treasury Secretary before him, failed to pay taxes. At that point, Schumer said, well, it was just a mistake. Everybody makes mistakes. So this kind of selective outrage against the kinds of mistakes that people inherently make strikes me as just another delaying tactic. Senator Schumer even complained about not having enough seats in a hearing room. These are all kind of manufactured reasons, Chris, to slow down the process because they don't want this administration to be treated like other administrations and being given the opportunity to get up and get started.
But Senator, weren't you guilty of some selective outrage back in 2009? I want to point out there was a case. Tom Daschle, former Senate Majority Leader, we learned that he had failed to pay back taxes for a car and a driver. There was a big fuss about that. Here you are in 2009.
It does raise some questions about the vetting process. This is now the second time that we've had a similar incident, first with the nominee for Secretary of the Treasury and now with Senator Daschle. I think the administration ought to take a look at its vetting process.
And in the end, they had to withdraw the Daschle nomination. What's the difference between you upset about Daschle and them upset about some of the Trump nominees? For instance, Mick Mulvaney, congressman, who has been named to be the budget director. We now have learned that he failed to pay $15,000 in taxes on his household help.
Well, Daschle decided not to go forward. Geithner did go forward, and he had a tax problem as well. I mean, the administration in the end decided not to go forward with Daschle. We don't know whether that would have been a decisive mistake or not.
But my point is, you made a fuss in 2009 about Daschle. They're making a fuss about some people today.
Look, you can complain about whatever you choose to. Ultimately, though, the administration decides who to submit, and members decide whether these kinds of mistakes that people make from time to time are decisive in determining how they're going to vote.
Finally, President Trump says that he wants to name a Supreme Court nominee. He's talked about doing it within 2 weeks. And Senator Schumer has said that they are going to block anyone that they don't like, that they feel is outside the mainstream. As Senate rules now stand, because the nuclear option was extended on a partial level in 2013 by the Democrats, you can confirm lower court judges with just 51 votes, right. A simple majority, not a supermajority of 60 votes. If the Democrats block a Supreme Court nominee, are you going to extend the nuclear option to Supreme Court nominees, because now they still need 60 votes?
Well, let me just say I'm confident we'll get the Supreme Court nominee confirmed. I expect an outstanding nominee sometime soon. I think it's noteworthy to look at how the Republican minority handled Bill Clinton, in his first administration, both of his first two nominees, Ginsburg and Breyer, no filibuster. Obama, in his first term, two nominees, no filibuster. We think our nominee ought to be treated the same way. If he is not treated that way, then under the current Senate rule, we would have to get cloture. That is, we'd have to get 60 votes. We had to do that with the Democrats objecting to Justice Alito 10 years ago, but cloture was invoked. Sorry for the long answer. I think the short answer is the nominee will be confirmed.
But would you consider extending the nuclear option and saying even for Supreme Court justices, just a simple majority?
The nominee will be confirmed.
One thing I've learned with you, Senator McConnell, is once you've given an answer, you're going to stick with that. Thank you. Thanks for coming in today.